Revealed. The 10 fruits that are secretly destroying your legs after 60. Have you ever wondered why your legs look weaker, even though you're following a healthy diet? Why do stairs look steeper than they used to be a few years ago? Why does it take longer now to get up from a chair than in the past? Is it simply natural aging, or is there another factor silently impairing your mobility? Here's what might surprise you. It's not always what you fail to do. In fact, you're already doing something harmful without realizing how harmful it really is. Most seniors make a silent mistake every day, with complete conviction that they are making the right choice. This is because they have been taught throughout their lives that fruits are healthy, natural, and beneficial for the body. In fact, most of them are. But here's the truth that no one disputes. Not all fruit is suitable for older people. In reality, some fruits, those we consume without question, can gradually weaken the legs and joints. Fruits promoted as healthy can be detrimental to your mobility, balance, and leg strength after age 60. Let's get started. First, sleeve. The silent sugar bomb that's paralyzing your joints without you knowing it. Mango. Juicy, soft, and almost a natural sweet treat that everyone loves, especially during the warmer months. But here's the truth that few know. Mango may be the most harmful fruit for seniors with joint problems. Why? Because it contains a surprising amount of natural sugar that directly affects its mobility. This sugar will make your blood glucose level rise rapidly, especially if you are over 60. Your body used to handle these spikes well when you were younger and more active. However, after the age of 60, their metabolism changes completely, creating a new physiological scenario. This sugar spike causes an increase in insulin, followed by a sudden drop that affects the entire body. Each time this occurs, your body produces inflammation deep within the joints, particularly in the tissues of the ankles, hips, and knees. You may experience a burning sensation in your toes after consuming mango regularly. A persistent tingling that does not go away, even with prolonged rest or common medication. Swelling around the feet at the end of the day that leaves shoe marks on the skin. A feeling of increasing heaviness in his legs that makes his daily mobility more and more difficult. Because mango has a light and refreshing flavor, it's easy to consume larger and larger portions without realizing it. This only intensifies the problems, creating a cycle of inflammation and discomfort in the joints. The fruit's feeling of lightness is deceiving, but its sugar causes significant inflammatory reactions in the aging body. Over time, this sugar can cause chronic joint pain and instability when walking. Ready to discover another surprisingly harmful fruit? Let's move on to the next item on our list. Second, oranges. The acidic poison that's eating away at your joints every day. Oranges are everywhere. Juices, health supplements, and breakfast dishes in nursing homes. They are recommended for boosting immunity thanks to vitamin C, but they hide an unpleasant reality for older people. Acid, which your joints deeply loathe, is what's behind that alluring citrus glow. Citrus is abundant in oranges and can cause silent irritation in sensitive joints with aging. This is particularly true if your body is already struggling with inflammation, stiffness, or diagnosed arthritis. When you wake up, you may feel a gradual stiffness in your knees that worsens after consuming oranges or their juice. Persistent hip pain that increases with regular intake of citrus in your daily diet. That uncomfortable feeling in your legs after sitting down that makes it difficult to take the first steps when you get up. Reduced mobility when trying to get up from a chair, as if something heavy is holding your legs. Many believe they are consuming something healthy, when in fact they are feeding the existing joint problem. The citric acid in oranges has systemic effects beyond the stomach, reaching the bloodstream quickly. When combined with the natural sugar in the fruit, it causes glycemic fluctuations that increase inflammation throughout the body. The result? Inflammation that spreads to your knees, ankles, and calves, compromising your daily mobility. Each step becomes heavier and more painful due to this silent inflammation that builds up in the joints. In young people, the effect is minimal, but in older people with worn joints, it becomes a significant problem. If you consume oranges daily, believing you are strengthening your health, it may be time to reconsider this habit. But wait, The next item on our list may be even more surprising for your joint health. Third, green apples. The betrayal disguised as health that weakens your legs while you sleep. Green apples look crunchy, clean, and natural. The epitome of a healthy snack for all ages. Most seniors choose them because they taste less sweet, believing they are making a healthier choice. However, these fruits can silently cause tiredness, stiffness, and leg pain with regular consumption. Malic acid and hidden natural sugar are the two villains that compromise your mobility over time. Malic acid gives green apples their characteristic tart flavor that so many appreciate as a healthy alternative. Although it is well tolerated by young people, it can be problematic for digestion in the aging process. Our gut lining becomes more sensitive with age, reacting more intensely to acidic foods. Malic acid can irritate tissues, including joints, once absorbed and circulating through the blood system. Some seniors report severe hip or thigh pain after eating green apples on a weekly basis. Others experience a feeling of warmth in their feet or tension in their knees that worsens with continuous consumption. The sugar present in green apples, although less intense than in red ones, still causes harmful glycemic fluctuations. These fluctuations directly affect joint health and muscle strength in people with slower metabolisms. Your calves can become chronically tired, as if you've walked miles without actually doing so. Night cramps can disrupt your sleep, reducing your energy and ability to recover the next day. Morning stiffness gradually increases, making the first steps of the day increasingly challenging. The most problematic aspect is that green apples are often consumed as a snack before bed. As a result, your body processes these compounds just when it should be recovering during sleep. Time to reveal another fruit that is surprisingly problematic for your mobility after 60. Rheum, kiwi. The secret saboteur of your balance that doctors won't reveal. Kiwi, small, exotic, and full of vitamin C, often recommended as a superfood for all ages. This little green fruit hides a dark side rarely discussed, especially for people over 60. Kiwi is among the most acidic fruits available, with levels that rival or surpass traditional citrus. This high acidity triggers inflammatory problems in the joints of the lower limbs with regular consumption. When you consume kiwi frequently, the acid enters the bloodstream and builds up in the joint tissues. Over time, this results in progressive morning stiffness in the knees and ankles that impairs their mobility. Getting out of bed becomes more challenging every day for no apparent reason other than natural aging. The feeling of heaviness in the legs after short walks increases subtly, limiting your daily activities gradually. Kiwi contains an enzyme called actinidin that can trigger inflammatory reactions in more sensitive immune systems. This enzyme triggers exaggerated responses that particularly affect the joints and leg muscles of the elderly. The result? Unexplained joint pain that appears hours after regular consumption of kiwi in the diet. Tingling or burning sensation in the feet after prolonged periods of sitting that do not respond to common pain relievers. Increasing difficulty maintaining balance when getting up quickly, increasing the risk of dangerous falls. The most worrying thing is that many elderly people increase their consumption of kiwi just when they notice these symptoms. They mistakenly believe that the antioxidants in the fruit will help fight the inflammation that is emerging in the joints. They don't suspect that the fruit itself may be the root cause of the problems they're trying to solve. The next fruit on our list reveals another unsuspected danger to your mobility after the age of 60. Fifth, watermelon. The illusion of hydration that is robbing you of your strength and stability. Watermelon, light, refreshing, and widely recognized as a healthy source of hydration, especially on hot days. It seems impossible that this watery fruit could silently damage your legs and compromise your daily mobility. However, there is a little-known secret. The glycemic index of watermelon is surprisingly high for the elderly. It quickly raises blood sugar levels, almost like a sugary candy or sugary soda. After age 60, your body processes these sugar spikes very differently than it did when you were young. An irregular insulin cycle is activated, causing systemic inflammation that primarily affects areas of low circulation. Where do these problems manifest themselves first? precisely in the parts responsible for their mobility and daily independence. Fatigue in the legs can appear soon after eating watermelon, even in amounts considered moderate by most. Persistent pain appears during brisk walks, as if your muscles are working against your natural movements. Persistent swelling around the ankles arises even without significant physical exertion or longer walks. Climbing stairs starts to feel like a disproportionate challenge, even if it's just a few steps in your own home. Watermelon deceives with its light texture and high percentage of water, masking its significant metabolic impact. Most people consume large amounts of this fruit, especially on hot days, without realizing the consequences. A slice quickly multiplies, increasing the sugar load and inflammation in the joints with no obvious signs. This refreshing fruit may be silently compromising your mobility while you believe you are hydrating properly. If your legs have been feeling progressively more tired, it may be time to watch your watermelon consumption. Now, let's reveal another surprisingly problematic fruit for your joint health and mobility after the age of 60. Sixth, grapes. The little bombs of inflammation that attack your knees silently. Grapes seem completely harmless, small, juicy, and considered heart healthy and longevity healthy. Their reputation as a source of antioxidants and cardioprotective compounds has made them a staple in healthy diets. However, few know the crucial fact. Elderly people often develop joint problems with regular consumption of grapes. This is because grapes contain high concentrations of fructose, a problematic sugar for slower metabolisms. Fructose is absorbed directly by the liver, putting a strain on it when consumed in significant amounts by the elderly. When your liver doesn't completely process that sugar, it produces uric acid as an unwanted metabolic byproduct. It's when uric acid starts to build up that the real problems arise in the weight-bearing joints. Uric acid forms microcrystals in the joints that cause constant and progressive irritation over time. It causes burning pain and intermittent swelling that makes even short walks challenging for many seniors. Have you ever felt that piercing pain in your big toe at night that interrupts your deep sleep? Or that unexpected stiffness in your calves that comes on without apparent warning and limits your daily movements? It can be something as simple as a regular handful of grapes causing your uric acid to spike. Fructose also fuels chronic systemic inflammation, creating a vicious cycle of reduced mobility and constant discomfort. Grapes are extremely easy to overconsume because they are small and seemingly harmless as a snack. Before you know it, you've already consumed a significant amount, multiplying the negative impact on your joints. If you have been experiencing increasing stiffness and swelling with no apparent cause, watch your regular consumption of grapes. And now, let's find out how a fruit associated with muscle health may be compromising your mobility. Seventh, bananas. The nutritional lie that turns your muscles into weakness. Bananas, soft, sweet, and rich in potassium. Widely recommended for preventing cramps and strengthening muscles. What most people don't know is that this fruit can have completely different effects on people over 60. They contain significant amounts of natural sugar and fast-digesting carbohydrates often underestimated by consumers. This means that immediately after eating a banana, your blood sugar levels rise considerably. If this occurs frequently, your body develops insulin resistance, especially harmful to peripheral circulation. Blood flow becomes weaker, particularly in the extremities, where circulation is already naturally more compromised. Inflammation increases silently, especially affecting the joints that support the weight of the body on a daily basis. Your legs suffer as a result of this ongoing inflammatory process, manifesting signs that many initially overlook. Persistent pain arises when walking or climbing stairs, progressively intensifying with regular consumption of bananas. Feeling of heaviness in the legs after meals, as if they are carrying an invisible burden that limits movement. In addition to sugar problems, bananas increase fluid retention, especially in people with cardiovascular sensitivity. This results in stiffer joints that compromise the natural flexibility needed for fluid and safe movements. Swollen feet that do not seem to fit properly into the usual footwear after regular consumption of this fruit. Swollen ankles that leave visible marks from the elastics of the socks, indicating abnormal fluid retention in the lower limbs. The effect is progressive and silent. You don't immediately make the connection between consumption and symptoms. Believing you are strengthening your muscles, you continue to consume bananas regularly, inadvertently worsening your joint condition. The impact is not immediate, but over time, it significantly compromises their mobility and quality of life. Let's now reveal yet another surprisingly problematic fruit for aging joints. 8th, pineapple, the fake anti-inflammatory that's destroying your mobility day after day. Pineapple, tropical, juicy, and often recommended as a natural anti-inflammatory due to the enzyme bromelain it contains. Ironically, this fruit promoted as a solution to inflammation may be the silent cause of joint problems for the elderly. Pineapples contain surprisingly high levels of strong acids and natural sugars that directly impact its mobility. These sugars are not as harmless as they seem, especially for people over 60. Our blood vessels become more delicate and sensitive with aging, responding negatively to frequent glycemic spikes. Pineapple provides a powerful dose of natural sugar that overwhelms the circulatory system already compromised by aging. This process raises blood sugar levels rapidly, creating a harmful metabolic spike for peripheral microcirculation. The small blood vessels that nourish your legs, feet, and muscles suffer cumulative damage with these repeated spikes. Circulation progressively deteriorates, reducing the supply of essential oxygen to the muscle and joint tissues of the legs. The immediate result: progressive pain that limits your movements and compromises your independence in basic daily activities. Disproportionate exhaustion when performing simple efforts that previously did not pose any challenge to their mobility. Swelling after short walks that would not cause any discomfort in earlier stages of life. In addition to sugar, pineapple contains high levels of acidity that aggravate pre-existing joint inflammation significantly. This acid exacerbates irritation in the joints, especially if you already have a diagnosis of arthritis or osteoarthritis. It intensifies inflammation in the ankles, hips, and knees, like fuel on an already lit fire. Many seniors report feeling of increasing heaviness in their legs after consuming pineapple regularly without making the connection. See now the surprising effects of the next fruit on our list. 9th, papaya, the digestive traitor that's secretly undermining your ability to walk. Papaya, colorful, tropical, and often recommended for healthy digestion due to its natural digestive enzymes. This celebrated fruit hides a rarely mentioned secret: its potentially negative effects on the mobility of the elderly. Papaya contains powerful proteolytic enzymes, particularly papain, which can negatively affect joint tissues over time. These enzymes, beneficial for digestion in small doses, can trigger inflammatory responses in the joints when consumed frequently. In addition, papaya has significant levels of sugars that are quickly absorbed by the aging body. This sugar causes rapid glycemic spikes, followed by equally sharp drops, a harmful pattern for sensitized joints. For older adults, this cycle of glycemic fluctuations triggers inflammation in the supporting joints, like knees and hips. You may start to notice an increasing feeling of heaviness in your legs after consuming papaya regularly in the diet. Intensified morning stiffness that does not seem to respond to conventional methods of relief such as stretches or common medications. Progressive difficulty for basic activities such as climbing stairs or walking on slightly uneven surfaces such as sidewalks. The papain in papaya can, over time, negatively affect the collagen structure in the cartilages that protect your joints. This process occurs slowly, making it difficult to establish the connection between fruit consumption and symptoms. Many doctors do not specifically ask about papaya consumption when evaluating joint problems in elderly patients. What makes papaya particularly problematic is that its consumption often increases just when digestive problems arise. The elderly seek the digestive relief provided by the fruit, without suspecting that they may be compromising their mobility. And finally, we come to the last fruit on our list that may be quietly affecting your joint health. 10th, persimmon, the sweet trap that's stealing your independence without a trace. Persimmon, orange, bright, and extremely sweet when ripe. a seasonal delight that many seniors consume regularly. This seemingly innocent fruit contains extraordinarily high levels of tannins, especially when it is not fully ripe. These tannins bind to proteins in the body and can trigger silent inflammatory processes that affect their mobility. For the more sensitive digestive systems of the elderly, persimmon's tannins can irritate the intestinal lining significantly. This irritation triggers a systemic inflammatory response that affects joints and muscles, particularly in overworked legs. The high sugar content in persimmon also poses a challenge to aging metabolism after the age of 60. These repeated glycemic spikes progressively increase joint stiffness and reduce the elasticity of essential connective tissues. Many seniors report an increasing feeling of heaviness in their legs during and after the persimmon drinking season. Difficulty getting up without additional support after periods of sitting that previously posed no mobility challenge. Regular consumption of persimmon can increase uric acid production by promoting microcrystals in the joints that cause pain. The most worrying aspect, the negative effects are cumulative and rarely directly associated with the consumption of this fruit. Most seniors don't realize the connection between their seasonal consumption of persimmon and progressive mobility difficulties. The salvation of your legs. The fruits that really strengthen and rejuvenate your steps. Now that you know the problematic fruits, let's discover the ones that really benefit your mobility after the age of 60. First, the small powerhouses. Red fruits such as blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries are true joint allies. These small fruits contain powerful natural anti-inflammatories that directly fight inflammation in overworked joints. They are gentle with their sugar levels, high in protective antioxidants, and low in inflammation-promoting sugars. They actively improve peripheral circulation, especially in the legs, making it easier for them to move daily with less discomfort. Cherries, consumed in moderation, can help reduce uric acid levels and decrease joint inflammation. A small handful of these berries can provide significant relief for sore joints and compromised mobility. Avocado, technically a fruit, is among the best options for promoting joint health and preserving mobility. Rich in healthy anti-inflammatory fats, avocado helps cushion your joints and reduce systemic inflammation. It also aids in the regulation of insulin, providing constant energy without the dangerous fluctuations of blood sugar. Pears consumed in moderation and combined with protein offer mild sweetness without taxing your metabolic system. Each of these fruits works in favor of your body, not against it like the ones mentioned above. They promote joint comfort, facilitate movement, and help your body regain strength and stability naturally. If you've read this far, you're clearly concerned about your health, your independence, and your quality of life. I want you to know for sure, it's never too late to make changes that will preserve your mobility. You still have time to regain strength, stability, and comfort in your daily movements. Aging brings challenges, but we do not need to passively accept limitations that can be circumvented with adequate knowledge. Pain, stiffness, and instability come gradually, often without us realizing their true origin. Here's the reality. You can take control by making sensible, moderate adjustments to your eating. One meal, one choice of fruit, and one conscious decision at a time can transform your mobility. The fruits we've discussed today aren't poisons, but they may not be the best for your current phase. Growing in age means becoming wiser in your choices, no longer limited in your possibilities. You'll notice significant differences when you start selecting foods that actually promote your joint health. Less discomfort, more flexibility, smoother mornings, and lighter steps await your new food choices. This is the essence of our message. Your independence is literally resting on your legs. Take care of them today by choosing the right fruits to nourish your joints, and they will sustain your freedom tomorrow.